Let's continue with creating our list view, and let's expose those listings and create a model that we can pass over to our list page. In our data model.qml, we're going to expose a property, which, as you've guessed by now, is read-only, so it can't be changed. And we're going to call this listings because that's what our listings list page is trying to get from our data model. So what are we going to pass over? Are we going to pass over just the listings? Well, no, we do kind of have to format the listings into the model that we created called text detail, text image, and model. So these fields aren't necessarily related to the JSON that we receive. These are the fields that the model expects. Okay, so we need to pass it those particular fields. Let's go to our data model, and inside of this listings section, what we're going to do is we're going to create something in our private member. So we will call it something obvious, create listings model. And what is that going to do? Well, it's going to go and fetch the listings from our private member. That's kind of optional. We could do that anyway, but we could do that from inside the private member. So let's create that function. So inside the private member, let's have function create listings model. We're passing in the source, which is just basically the listings. And we're also going to pass in a second parameter called pass values, a Boolean. Now, what does this mean? Well, this is basically if we have our favorites, we will have already created this listings model. So there's no need to go through the code that we would use to pass that model basically again. So this is just indicating that. We're not going to implement that quite yet because we haven't done our favorites. So what are we going to do? We're going to return a map of the source.map, function data, okay, so we've mapped the source. We'll say if pass values, then we will do what? We'll say data equals JSON dot pass data. Okay, and then we will return. Sorry, I said that slightly wrong. It's been a while since I've looked at this bit of code. What we're going to put in here is a Boolean saying, should you pass the values or not? Right, so it is related to the favorites, but not in the way that I said. So if we say, I definitely want you to pass this data, then it's going to go ahead and return a new object with the following properties. Text, which would be data.price underscore formatted. So this is going to have the price of the property. What else is it going to pass? Well, remember we said there's a detailed text in this model. So what we're doing here is creating that model for the list view. What are we going to show in the detailed text? Let's have a data.title. And then what else did we say we were going to give? There was an image, I believe. Where does the image come from? From the data. It's data.thumb underscore URL. And then finally, we passed it a model. And the model is just basically the data so that we have access to that data object wherever we want to go. For example, when we click something, we want to be able to pass that model data over to, say, a new page that shows more information. Okay, so let me check my braces here. Correct, correct. Where does that one sit? I think that's correct. And that one should be that one. So if we just save that, yeah, everything goes away. So I'm going to just put that bracket there. And now everything should line up. So I'm just going to save that. Let's hit the live button. which is running in the background, remember. I just hit the live button because it's convenient. Let's type London, hit go, and there we have it. Beautiful, isn't it? So we still have undefined at the top, but we're going to ignore that. We have a picture, we have a main title with the price, which I guess is the most important bit of information you'd want to know, and then the name of, or the title of the property as the next little bit. And we've got a little arrow here. So that is part of this simple row. What you see there is a simple row. Okay, and there are, of course, you can make custom rows as well. It doesn't just have to be a simple row. But a simple row, if that's all you need, then that's all you need. It's already created for you. Now, obviously, if we click something, there's going to be a horrible error because we said show the detail page, and we don't have that yet. So let's first actually fix this title bar up at the top. So what do we need to do that? Well, in data model, we need to expose the number of listings and what have you. So let's again create these read-only properties. An alias number of total listings, which comes from our private member, number of total listings, and then another read-only property, which will be an integer. Stop it with the int validator. This is simply the number of listings, and the value, of course, is dot listings dot length. How big is that array of listings? So save that. Let's check out our live server. London, go. And now we have 20 of 58,000 matches. A lot of places for sale in London. Must be the global economic crash incoming. Okay, so that is our list view. That's the basics of it. So I'll just recap it very slightly there. Go to our listings list page. You need a model. Inside the model, you need to define a source. Where's the data coming from? You need to tell it what fields that source is going to provide. And then you need to tell it what the template for displaying the rows is. So in this case, we have a simple row, but you can have any kind of row that you can imagine. A simple row is just a nice, easy template to get started with. And then once that was all done, we also have a footer that shows the refresh handler to load the next page. And actually, we didn't check that, did we? Let's see if that's working yet. So there it is at the bottom. We haven't made it work yet, and we will in future things. But for now, we just want this list view to show. Okay, so in the next section, we're going to look at what happens when we click this. We actually want to push a new page and show the details of it. So in the next section, we'll look at how to show that new page and pass some data to it.